We live in a world that is addicted to noise, and we live in a culture that equates volume with value. We are taught from a young age that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, that the loudest voice in the room is the leader, and that if you aren't speaking, you aren't contributing. Open any social media app and you are bombarded with a million different opinions. Everyone has a hot take. Everyone is an expert. Everyone is screaming to be heard, desperate to prove how smart, how virtuous, or how informed they are. We have confused having an opinion with having intelligence. But what if I told you that the smartest person in the room is almost never the one doing the talking? What if I told you that true intelligence is not defined by output but by input? There is an ancient proverb that says, "The empty vessel makes the loudest noise." When you strike a hollow drum, it booms, it echoes, it demands attention. But when you strike a drum that is filled, solid, dense, and heavy, it makes very little sound. People are the same. There is a phenomenon in psychology known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. It explains why incompetent people are often so loud and why highly intelligent people are often so quiet. The effect shows that people with very low ability often suffer from illusory superiority. Because they know so little, they cannot even grasp how complicated the world actually is. They see everything in black and white. They have simple answers to complex problems. They speak with absolute certainty because their world is small. On the other hand, as you gain true knowledge, you begin to realize how much you don't know. You begin to see the nuance. You begin to see the gray areas. The intelligent person is quiet not because they have nothing to say, but because they are painfully aware of the complexity of reality. They are calculating, they are processing, they are hesitant to speak in absolutes because they respect the truth too much to simplify it. Pause. Think about the most insecure person you know. They're likely the one who always has to one-up your story. If you went to Paris, they went to Rome. If you had a bad day, they had a worse one. They are terrified of silence because in the silence, they might have to face themselves. They use words as a shield, a constant barrage of noise to keep anyone from seeing the emptiness inside. Now think about the most powerful, respected person you know, the mentor, the veteran, the true master. They rarely interrupt, they rarely raise their voice. When they do speak, the room goes quiet. Why? Because of the concept of scarcity. In economics, the more you print of a currency, the less that currency is worth. If you print $1 trillion, the dollar becomes worthless. Words operate on the same economy. The person who comments on everything, who speaks 10,000 words a day, devalues their own speech. Their words are inflation. But the person who speaks rarely, their words are gold. When they open their mouth, people listen because they know that this person does not waste breath. They know that if this person is speaking, it is because they have something necessary to say. There is a biological component to this as well. You cannot transmit and receive at the same time. When your mouth is open, your ears are effectively closed. When you are busy formulating your next argument, you are not listening to what is being said. You are merely waiting for your turn to speak. This is why most people never learn anything new after the age of 25. They stop listening. They spend the rest of their lives recycling the same few facts and opinions they gathered in their youth, screaming them louder and louder, hoping that volume will make them true. True intelligence requires a suspension of the ego. It requires you to admit, I might be wrong. It requires you to sit in a room where people are saying things you disagree with, and instead of jumping in to correct them, you sit back. You watch, you analyze, you ask yourself, why do they think that? What do they see that I don't? What are their incentives? While the loud person is busy trying to win the argument, the quiet person is busy winning the war. They are gathering data. They are learning the psychology of the people around them. The loud person reveals their hand immediately. They show you their cards. They tell you exactly what they want, what they fear, and what they think. The quiet person remains a mystery. And in any negotiation, in any conflict, and in any relationship, the person with the most information wins. We must also talk about the power of strategic silence. In the world of negotiation, silence is a weapon. The amateur negotiator makes an offer and then immediately starts talking. They get nervous. They start justifying the price. They start apologizing. They start negotiating against themselves. The master negotiator makes an offer, and then they do something that feels incredibly uncomfortable. They shut up. They let the silence hang in the air. They let the pressure build. They know that human beings are social creatures who are terrified of awkward silences. They know that if they wait long enough, the other person will crack. The other person will start talking just to fill the void. And in doing so, they will reveal their true position, their weaknesses, and their bottom line. This is the silence of intelligence. It is the ability to control your impulse to fill the space. But this goes beyond just negotiation. It goes to the core of how we connect with others. We think that to be charismatic, we need to be the life of the party. We need to tell the best jokes. We need to be the center of attention. But the most charismatic people in the world, the ones who make you feel seen, the ones you want to be around, are the ones who make you the center of attention. They ask questions and then they actually listen to the answer. They don't look at their phone. They don't look over your shoulder for someone more important. They lock eyes with you and they give you the gift of their silence. In a world that is screaming for attention, giving someone your full, silent attention is the ultimate act of respect. It is rare. It is magnetic. So why is this so hard? It is hard because silence requires confidence. It requires the confidence to know that you don't need to prove yourself. The lion does not need to bark to prove it is a lion. It is the small dog that barks at everything that moves. The person who is truly secure in their intelligence does not feel the need to broadcast it. They know what they know. They don't need your validation to make it true. If you find yourself constantly needing to correct people, to jump into debates on the internet, to offer your unsolicited advice, ask yourself, who were you trying to convince? Them or you? So, how do we cultivate this? How do we tap into the power of the silence of intelligence? It starts with a simple rule: wait 3 seconds. When someone finishes speaking, or when you feel the urge to jump into a conversation, count to 3 in your head. 1, 2, 3. In those 3 seconds, 2 things will happen. First, you will realize that 50% of the things you were about to say are unnecessary, emotional, or ego-driven. You will save yourself from saying something stupid. Second, the other person might continue talking. They might go deeper. They might reveal the thing they were actually trying to say if you hadn't cut them off. Your challenge for the next 24 hours is to conduct an experiment. Go into your day and try to say 50% less. If you are in a meeting, be the last one to speak. If you are at dinner with friends, ask questions and let them shine. If you see something on the internet that makes you angry, do not type, just observe. Feel the urge to speak, the urge to correct, the urge to be right, and simply let it pass. Observe the room, watch the dynamics, see who is loud and who is quiet, see who is posturing and who is actually in control. You will find that when you stop trying to project your intelligence out into the world starts to reveal its intelligence to you. You will stop being a source of noise and you will become a source of signal. The world has enough talkers, it has enough noise, it has enough opinions. Be the one who listens, be the one who thinks, be the one who waits. In the silence, you will find your strength.